Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to Let's Play DmC, Devil May Cry, the rather infamous iteration in the series made not internally by Capcom, not directed by Itsuno, but instead outsourced to Ninja Theory, with Itsuno overseeing it. This is a reimagining of Devil May Cry. It's quite different from 1 through 4, even though it still follows the same kind of character action formula. It does change quite a lot. Dante's design chief among the changes, a slew of art style changes, and even a couple of controversial game design changes that coalesce to make something that's really polarizing. I personally think DmC, Devil May Cry, is honestly quite good, and it became even better with the definitive edition, which we will be playing today. But enough from me. We'll probably mess around with more costumes in a little bit. I just want to show some of the stuff they added with the definitive edition. Oh, of course my controller batteries are low. Awesome. I never use this because I only use my Xbox One for KI. Why don't I just show you why this game is not half bad.
Yes, by close of trading Friday. No, you can't have more time. You know the terms, you know the consequences. No, this is not a veiled threat. This is a direct one. Should you fail to comply, the collapse of the economy will be on your head. I will make sure that you are stripped of power, shamed, and hated. Is that clear enough for you? Ah. Friday it is, then. You have a good night, Mr. President.
So, did you get it, my darling?
Over $1 trillion.
Oh.
Soon I will own everything worth owning. I will control the world through debt. I have absolute power.
The world is at last your bitch. What's the matter? What's the matter?
A loose end.
A loose end, what?
The son of the traitor Sparta, Dante.
Him.
He's still out there.
The hunters will find him. They found Sparta and his whore. And when they do...
I will rip open his chest with my bare hands and feast on his beating heart.
Nothing left to express my life is in 1,000 pieces, million reasons. Why should I keep myself away? Hard to define. It always says it's hard to scream with your throat full of glass. I cannot help it, can't decline. It's always better down the line. I'm in the wrong, and I've done it all before. And I wish I'd never been. And I know it's just a dream. Now I'm blind, I can't open my eyes. Can't stay awake. Burning Fear the sun is falling from the sky. Can't stay away.
The demons have been increasing their power for millennia. They're on the verge of controlling mankind. Citizens, we've been kept asleep in a manufactured illusion for too long. We must wake up.
The masked lunatic you saw there claims to represent an organization called the Order. Now, this group has claimed responsibility for several serious attacks in recent weeks. He is undoubtedly a traitor and a terrorist. And I, for one, am not for the death penalty. So, there's one way to do it. Illegally shoot the son of a bitch. This is Bob Barbas, just doing God's work.
Dante! Get out of there! You're in danger!
Who are you? What do you want?
You were careless. You left a trail. Now he's on to you.
What are you talking about? Who's on to me?
A hunter demon. He's here. He's dragging you into limbo.
Demon scum.
It's too late. You're gonna have to fight your way out.
Shit. Back in limbo. Bad day for a hangover. Get your filthy fucking claw off my trailer. Missed.
So I don't think that's the best opening, especially for people who were worried about the game and some of the aesthetic and style changes. If you kept an eye out on that opening, you'd have seen a bunch of posters for Comba Christ, who did the soundtrack for the game. But once we actually get into gameplay, I think all of the concerns fall away, at least for me. Because it's still just so smooth and good feeling, and there's still so much room for creative expression through mechanics, which is, when I play Devil May Cry, when I play Bayonetta, when I play any character action game, is the main thing that I'm looking for. And something that might immediately turn you off is the new Dante, who isn't so much suave as he is like edgy and vulgar and obnoxious. I was also pretty turned off by him at first, but I think he actually gets the chance to grow some. I also just really like the aesthetic of this game a lot. Like, I think it's got not only a unique, defining art style, but it's one that's just really, really cool. Like, for as much as you might gripe about the new Dante design, I think the design of the world and the art itself is wonderful.
Target practice. Right on cue.
So these are mainly placed here so you can get a feel for using the guns, which is just tapping square. There is one other cool thing that you get to do with the Bathoses, which is parry their grenades back at them. And this game has a really nice, robust parrying system, which is one of the ways in which they added some depth that wasn't always present. And of course, being a Devil May Cry game, it's got its own slew of advanced techniques, and again, a lot of room to just style on enemies. We don't have so much room for that just yet, given that we only just got Ebony and Ivory, and we only started with Rebellion with a limited moveset. But of course, as we go through the game, we're going to be getting more stuff, more moves for Rebellion, and the other weapons we're going to pick up. And later on, we will get one of my all-time favorite Devil May Cry items in one of the really early upcoming chapters, in fact. I think this game has a pretty good suite of weapons.
Don't shoot! My name is Kat. I'm not a demon. I'm still in the real world. You're in limbo.
How come I can see you clearly?
I'm a medium, a psychic. I can phase into limbo and communicate with you. I can see you, talk to you, but I'm not actually in limbo with you.
If I pull the trigger?
I'll die. I'm risking my life here for you. I want to help.
I don't need your help.
The hunter has dragged you into limbo. I can get you out.
I've been down here before. I know how to get out. Fight whatever shit-sucking demon dragged you in here.
You don't want to fight the hunter. He's not your regular demon.
Follow me, now.
So before we go and follow Kat, we're going to go over here and get a couple of red orbs. Red orbs, as usual, are going to be our currency. Also, some of these arcade cabs. You will occasionally see a couple of familiar Capcom faces on them. Most commonly, I think, is Ryu and Ken. And then these Lost Souls, we're just gonna hit them for more red orbs. And I think over here, that looks like a Vital Star, which is just a healing item. I think previously in the original base game, there was a key to unlock the secret missions over there. So it looks like they actually remixed a couple of things in addition to the gameplay changes they made in Definitive Edition. Oh yeah, the key is just next to this arcade cab now. Ah, this fight is fun too. We get introduced to the fact that there are going to be a lot of environmental interactions in this game. Such as, if we pop an enemy up who is a little bit closer to the center here, I think that'll do it. Yep. They will get killed by the tilt-a-whirl. And then, even if the tilt-a-whirl isn't close, the moment you pop them up, you can just kind of juggle them in the air with Ebony and Ivory until it comes around to take them out. Whoops. And one new addition to the definitive edition of the game is the hard lock-on that you can either hold or you can now toggle, which I really like. You know, you always had the hold to lock on in the old Devil May Cry games, but now you also have the toggle option in definitive edition and the hold option. There was no lock-on at all in the base game, which was one of the major gameplay criticisms of it. And we'll compare and contrast more of those differences as some of the changes kind of manifest. But again, I think the Definitive Edition only made a good game that much better. Here we're going to spend some of our upgrades to grab Stinger Level 1. Returning staple. Pretty much turns us into a body projectile.
breaking news. We go live to our eye in the sky. Steve, I can't believe what I'm seeing.
So one of the design changes I actually don't like all that much. I don't generally mind the changes to his character. I just don't understand why they went with the design for the coat that they did. I think that they could have pretty easily maintained the all-red design instead of doing black on the outside and red on the inside. I think it still looks fine. I'm not foaming at the mouth about it. Just one of those little nitpicks. As for the stinger in this one, the stinger this time around, there are a couple of different ways to perform it, which is just staying in line with giving you more and more options for the moves. This one, you can do it with a motion. You can do it with back and forward on the stick, followed by the button press. You can also do it by holding the lock on and hitting forward on the stick and hitting the button like you normally would. Or you can just do a toggled lock on and forward and Y, or forward and triangle, depending on what controller you use. So there are a bunch of different ways to perform it, all based around the new lock on. But the main thing is, I just like that there's now a motion attached to it. So even if you aren't locked on, you just do back forward. So I feel like the opening cutscene makes a really poor first impression, but once you get into the gameplay and you get a feel for it in the opening level and you get to see all this cool stuff they do with the aesthetic, it brings me right back. So this is our first secret mission of the game. We unlock these with the keys we find in levels. For this one, actually that doesn't seem to be too effective. We can only deal damage to these enemies while they are airborne, so we just have to use this basic aerial raid that we start with. And the Helmbreaker that we actually get right off the bat. Like, that fourth hit of the aerial raid pushes them pretty far away. I think it might be more damaging, though. Or we could do 3 hits of the aerial rave followed by the Helmbreaker. But I think just the full 4-hit rave is a little bit more damaging. And it's even making that kind of shimmery noise whenever we hit them on the ground to indicate that they are not taking damage. And for successfully completing a secret mission, we will get a health cross, which replaces... almost at the green orbs. No, the blue orb fragments. It's the same idea, though. They're heart pieces. And back to the funhouse. And after all that excitement, things die down just a little bit. I'm gonna shoot all the spiders for a couple of red orbs. And perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. I think there's another lost soul somewhere around the corner. Nope, this is something that we cannot unlock until we have a weapon from one of the upcoming missions. We're actually gonna get a bunch of really cool stuff within the first 4-ish missions. This one's just our introduction to Rebellion, our sword, and Ebony and Ivory, and a couple of Rebellion's moves.
Exit. Good.
I think next up we get 2 weapons and 1 really cool item within the next 3 or 4 missions. Again, we get some more environmental... Ooh! I was at... Again, the lock-on put my roll at an angle that I wasn't quite ready for. But we get some more potential environmental interactions with the gears here. We could do stuff like stinger them into them. Or, oh, yeah. God, that's nice. So there are two real basic combos that you start off with Rebellion, and one is just the straight-up mashing, and the other one is one of the classic delay combos, which is, I think, called Death Coil, where you hit the button a few times, take a brief pause, and then continue the combo.
Not in a million years.
That won't work.
Why not?
He's bulletproof.
There's a rip up ahead!
A what?
We'll take you back to the real world. We'll come back for the hunter.
So, that's, that one, I don't know how to feel about it. Like, it's clearly just making fun of people who freaked out over the new character design and went way, way overboard. Because I think there are plenty of legitimate criticisms of the gameplay, especially in the base game. But people were dead set on hating this long before any of the gameplay was shown, when it was just, all we knew about the game was that it was made by Ninja Theory, and the new character design. People were already kind of dead set on hating it, which is unfortunate. But it's still just, like, unnecessary. It's an incendiary kind of scene. Just added fuel to the fire. It was an unnecessary jab. It was a little bit tone deaf.
Dante, wait! It's working. You can fight it now. It won't be easy. Hunters are brutal fighters.
So am I.
So we're meant to infer from that was some sort of magic Molotov. That makes him less impervious. It strips away some of his armor. And we will, of course, be doing more damage to his face. This is a very basic tutorial boss. It's no, like, Cerberus from DmC 3. Sure as shit is not a gatekeeper.
Feel it now, don't ya?
Oh yeah, we're gonna get in with that trillion stabs. I love that we can pick that up this early on. And that is, of course, just after Stinger mashing the button. And since we are at S, which is a little dodgy, we'll talk about the way this game handles its scoring system probably in a little bit. Whoops. Because it is quite different, and I would say quite a bit more lenient. Again, another criticism of the game is how it handles style ranking. It's way more lenient, and way easier to hit those higher style ranks, which some people find pretty disagreeable. I think they might also be a little bit more lenient here in the beginning when you have less stuff to style with. But I'm not 100% sure about that. So all the Hunter really does is a couple of different knife combos, like 2 or 3. One is like an anti-air, one is that jumping one, and one he uses whenever you're grounded.
Does it hurt?
Then we might be able to finish it right here with the... Ooh, cross to the other side. Yeah, we'll finish it right now.
Game over. Son of who?
Just like your
Or mother. I don't know my mother, but if you're calling me a son of a bitch, you wouldn't be the first. My mother. I barely remember her.
You okay, Dante?
How do you know my name?
My boss knows you. He wants to meet. Please? I helped you back there.
I didn't ask for your help.
We know all about you, Dante. I'm with an organization called The Order. Heard of it?
Something to do with that masked freak on the net?
That's my boss.
Wonderful. Can't wait.
We're just receiving reports of a terrorist attack that's taking place at the Bellevue Pier in the Western District of the city. Police are asking the public to remain vigilant. Further, terrorist attacks could take place anywhere, anytime, and when you least expect them.
We have your scent, son of Sparta. Now it is just a matter of time.
Alright, and that's going to do it for Mission 1. Obviously, we couldn't do 100% completion because that requires us to come back later once we have a couple of things. Still don't know how that qualifies as a C, but that's fine too. That is going to do it for now. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take it easy. Have a good one.